Great Scott! Great Scott! Great Scott!
Hello everyone, and welcome to Great Scott. I'm Scotty V, and thanks for watching. So, the Smallville complete series disc set has recently won an award for Best TV Release of the Year, I guess. It's pretty interesting, considering that it's the longest-running Superman-related series in history. I think it's the longest-running superhero-related television show in history, and that's pretty cool, and I know all the fans are excited about it, and people who really love Smallville for what it was, for what it could have been, for what it had been. Me, I'm on the side of for what it could have been, the promise that it held. I loved the show. I know a lot of you have disagreed with me. Some of you have held vitriol for me for some of the things I've said about Smallville. And let me say this. With the Superman celebration coming up in just a week, you still have time to book some tickets. I'm sure that you can get some space in a hotel room, or maybe bunk with somebody. The message boards and Facebook are teeming with people who are going. There are people looking for roommates. There are people that are going to have a great time there. And if you haven't been, I went in 2008, and it was fantastic. Chloe, our very own Chloe from Smallville, Allison Mack, was one of the guests, along with Ned Beatty, and Noel Neal is there almost every year. I'm not sure if she's going to be there this year. I know she's had some health issues and things over the past few years or so, or maybe months. You know, she is getting up there in age, but she's a very nice lady, and it was fun to meet her, and I'm sure it'll be fantastic to meet the guests this year. How does this connect to what I was talking about, Smallville? John Glover and Cassidy Freeman, both from Smallville, and both welcome additions to that cast when the show was on, will be at the Superman celebration. For me, in the early years of Smallville, that was when it was at its best, and that was when it held the most promise. And the idea, for me, was such a novel idea. It was so cool to possibly see how Clark was going to grow up and become Superman, and how he was going to interact with these other characters, Lex Luthor. And then we met Lionel early in season 1, and initially John Glover was supposed to be kind of a guest star. Who knew how many times he would be on, and they made him into a much larger role in this series. And I think that that's because he's such a fantastic actor and a great presence on screen. For me, I think my favorite scenes in Smallville involved, you know, Lex would be in his office or in a room doing something maybe a little devious, or maybe actually trying to help at times, and you'd see the shoes of Lionel storming down the hall, and you knew within the next few seconds there'd be a Lionel-Lex confrontation with some of the wittiest, most interesting banter back and forth, and it just made the show so much more dynamic. And when Lionel was on, especially in the early years, when we didn't really know what his deal was, and I guess he went out not with us not knowing what his deal was, but that was for me, that was on the bad side. You know, in the beginning he was mysterious, and he was, you know, but it did seem like he was trying to push his son to be stronger, and to be independent. But on the other hand, he definitely seemed like a darker presence in Lex's life, and I think that helped shape Lex into the man he might become one day. Lionel was kind of created for Smallville. I mean, Lex had parents, but in many different versions, they died long before he became a grown man, or he possibly took part in killing them. Lex's parents have never really played a large part in the comic book, so that was something that Smallville did, and something that I really appreciated that they had done. It was very interesting to me every time I would see Lionel and Lex on screen. So if you haven't gotten your tickets, and you weren't thinking of going, but you have any possibility of doing so, I can't go this year. I'm going to attempt to go next year, with the big release of Man of Steel right around the same exact time. I believe it's going to be released on the same weekend of the celebration next week. This time around, you have about a week, and the celebration will begin, and you'll have your opportunity to meet Lionel Luthor John Glover, and Cassidy Freeman, who played Tess Mercer on the show, who was very, very attractive, of course, and was a very welcome presence on Smallville as well. I think she did a great job. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and remember, always look up in the sky.